be able to tell you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Untap Open League. I'm Taylor. Today with me I have Kevin Finkel.
Hey
Uh,
guys.
Today we have our semifinals match with Clayton and Ryan. Clayton today will be on Mono Black Eldrazi. It's a deck he's been playing for probably about a year and a half now, since the inception of the format. And we have Ryan, who's been placing in the Hareruya tournaments with his Mardu tokens deck.
Yep, and it looks like it's going to be a good one here. Both of these are a little bit off the cuff decks, but they're both really powerful decks, and we've seen both of them in action before.
So right up, just looking at the decks, who do you favor in this matchup?
So I have already looked at it a little bit. So I've seen this Mono Black Eldrazi deck run into tokens, and tokens are a problem. So he's got a lot of those big creatures like the Thought Knot Seers that don't really want to run into a 1/1 and just be blocked. He's got the Bearer of Silences, which are powerful against one big creature, but not so great against a bunch of little guys that he doesn't mind sacrificing. So if that takes like a Hangerback Walker, that's really bad for him. Even the Reaver Drones, some of those things like that, they're not going to be able to attack into a board of small guys. So that's going to be a problem. I think on the other side of the board, there will be a little bit of the same of he's got a lot of small guys that he has to attack into some big creatures. But I think I'm favoring Schwenk in this side.
So some things I see out
Right.
of the Eldrazi deck. I think Copter will be really good. I think Bearer of Silence will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reality Smashers, the Walking Ballistas, and Duresses out of the sideboard should be really good.
Yeah, the Reality Smasher is something good. It lets him go over those tokens. I'm not sure I'm on the same page with the Bearer of Silence. I mean, the flying will be nice, but the actual additional effect isn't great, so it's kind of just a 2/1 flyer for 2.
Yeah, I was just thinking if he get that Ghostfire Blade on it, he should be able to get in for some damage. And I think the tokens deck has issues with flyers. Outside of Hangerback Walker and Smuggler's Copter, they don't have anything main board. But then sideboard, they
He
get
does have the
Lashwing Griff.
vampires that can come out of Sorin are flying, but
That's a good point.
that's just a little bit.
So, what are you liking out of the sideboard for Ryan?
So we are probably going to talk a little bit sideboards between games. What's interesting, I have watched this Mono Black Eldrazi play on stream before, and something that I know he's always afraid of is the artifact removal, Kolaghan's Command especially. So whenever he tends to see an opponent on Mardu colors like this, on Kolaghan Command colors, especially if he sees the deck list, which he knows the deck list's here, he tends to pull out his Smuggler's Copters and his Ghostfire Blades. And it's something that I've never really agreed with, so he's going to try and bring in a lot to try and fight that, and we'll have to see if that's a good idea or if that's something he's going to do in this matchup. It's something I'll be watching for.
All right, cool.
Do we
So,
want to let them start, and we'll
yeah.
talk more about side decks as we go?
Yeah,
So
let's get
okay,
them
we've
started.
got both hands already revealed here, and it looks like it's going to be an interesting one. I at first really liked the hand from Ryan Schwenke here on the top with the Mardu tokens deck, but I do see that he doesn't have a way to get untapped white on the first turn, which is going to be a little bit awkward.
So,
Once
I'm
we
having a weird issue where I can't tell them they can start. So, if you could type, oh, my untap crashed.
Sure, let me let them know. Although you're gonna be able to see it. Why don't you load yourself back in? Because otherwise you're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to see what's going on.
Oh, okay. Looks like I'm getting back in. Is
All
this
right, are
just on
you
my
good?
end? I am not good yet.
Your notifications are not. All right, so what we are looking at though is a pretty aggressive hand from C squared. So we're gonna have to see what he runs out early. He probably doesn't want that endless one-on-one when he's got the Ghostfire Blade here as a turn one option. Then the endless one gets to be larger later. If nothing else comes down though, I guess it depends on how aggressive he wants to be, because endless one-on-one followed up by equipping a Ghostfire Blade and attacking is quite a clock. Although I can also see, dropping the Smuggler's Copter, following it up with an endless one a little bit larger, something that'll eat those tokens a little better and getting it in the air. So it depends on what he wants to do here. He's got a couple options. Seeing the Murderous Cut is going to be a little bit awkward compared to a Fatal Push, because the push is definitely going to be better against the small creatures. Murderous Cut's better against things like Abzan and decks that have something like a Goblin Dark Dweller that you really want to be able to hit, which you can't do with a push.
Okay, so I just can't
They're
get
also
back onto
talking what you're
untap.
missing here. He's Um, let me think what you might want to do. I saw a reload option there. I'm peeking onto your screen here to see what's going on your screen.
I might try a different
But for anyone
browser.
listening in, okay, I think it only works on Chrome, but you can give it a try.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, I don't know what to do here
Here, I'm
then.
gonna let them know that you're running a little behind here. Maybe try clearing cookies real quick if that works. Oh, are you in?
I don't think so. I'm gonna reset the stream real quick just so that we can deal with this and then
Okay.
get back to it later. Sorry about that,
All right.
folks.
Looks like we're live again.
Okay, so as soon as I shut the stream off, it came back up. So hopefully we're good to go now.
Okay, here we go. All right, we're back in game. Let's give them a go ahead.
I think it crashed again.
Hopefully not. I just let them know they can start here, but we'll try and see if you're seeing it.
Oh, okay, it's working
All right,
now.
looks like it's working, guys. Great. All right, so what I'm watching here is them look at their hands. All right, so we're getting that swamp, and let's see which one drop he goes with. Because I was saying, okay, so he does like the endless one. This means we'll probably see the Ghost Fire Blade on turn 2, and get that clock going so that he doesn't get run over by some of the go wide options in Ryan's deck here.
So Ryan has a Secure the Waste in his hand. I think that's going to be one of the better cards in this matchup. Being able to just make a bunch of tokens to block all of his things should be really nice.
Now he actually has 2, which is going to be awkward. It's not likely that he'll be able to play it for a while for more than 1 or 2 tokens, which is going to be kind of slow against this clock that's going on right now. You don't really want to be chumping that early. Like a turn 2, make a token and do nothing would not be great from Ryan's side. And sorry, we have Ryan, which is Japan Hobbyist on the top here, and then at the bottom on the Mono B-Eldrazi is, sorry, what was his name?
We have Clayton.
Clayton, yes. Thank you. All right, so he's breaking this fetch. I assume he's going to go and get white for that Legion's Landing, which is going to come down on 2. That's, like I said, pretty slow. He's already down to 16 from that swing for 3. And another land, I guess, is okay, but it doesn't stop the clock on the board. We'll probably just see this Legion Landing or the Hangerback Walker and nothing else this turn.
I feel like he'll probably set up the Hangerback Walker here.
And then you think he'll go for the Legion's Landing with the Reckless Bushwhacker and flip?
He could do that. It's not something I thought of, but that seems like a fine plan. I was just thinking that he needs to start blocking damage as fast as possible because he's already on a quick clock.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he could take some more damage and it wouldn't be the end of the world, but
yeah, and he's, fetched twice now. He's got another fetch in hand, which is going to hurt him a little bit more. I don't know if it's... I think it might be a little bit too early to block with the Hangerback Walker, but maybe not, especially if he is planning on just swinging in for some damage next turn. So he'd be able to swing in for 6. 2 of it would be lifelink. It's not bad if Ryan doesn't have anything here, or if Clayton doesn't have anything here, which looks like he did miss the 3rd land drop. So he can either equip a 2nd blade, or he can throw down the Smuggler's Copter. If he equips a 2nd blade, I think I definitely like blocking with the Hangerback Walker, just soak up that 5 damage. Okay, so that's what he's going for, playing this Ghostfire Blade, swinging in for 5 damage.
and then with this block with the Hangerback Walker, like you said, it's going to set up that Bushwhacker to flip the land. That should be pretty good, give him some more mana for to Secure the Waste.
Assuming that's what he's looking for. Otherwise, he could just sit back. He could create 2 tokens with Secure the Waste to block for a turn. Slowly get a bigger board, but I think it's better to go a little aggressive and, like you said, get that extra mana going so that when he does Secure the Waste, it's going to be something big. Now, there's Westvale Abbey out of the deck here. Do we know of any good ways for him to get rid of a flipped Westvale Abbey?
There's a Bearer of Silence if he doesn't have any other tokens, but yeah, other than that, I don't think he does main board.
Okay. So that's going to be a big problem if that's something that Ryan can look for as a possible win con. So knocking himself down to 14 with all of these fetches. Let's see what he goes for if he is thinking. I think the fact that he's fetching now means he's probably going for that play we talked about. We'll see the Legion's Landing flip right now, which is pretty cool. But that does mean he'll be open for an attack. Crackback here. He'll end up taking 5, going to 11.
So I think this is also the exact kind of start that Clayton needed in this match in order to be able to win. I think he needs to put on the pressure as fast as possible, especially in these pre-sideboard games.
Yeah, I do think that some of his best starts start with an early Ghostfire Blade, an early Copter, and then he can really take advantage of all of the utility lands in his deck later in the game. So kind of like how the Ramen Up Red decks played, or used to play, in Standard, now that it's banned.
Yeah, pretty good comparison. Yeah, he is going to try to flip the Legion's Landing.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. He gets in for the 6, and like I said, he'll get that 2 lifelink back. Actually putting him up ahead in life now, so big turnaround. Although he can't quite keep up that pressure, so I mean, next turn if he wanted, though... Ooh, so okay, next turn he'll be at 5 lands, which would be enough to secure the waste, follow up with a 6 land, and flip that Westvale Abbey already.
Yeah, that's going to be so strong if he can do that.
Yeah, and with Clayton missing on lands here again, it looks like he might be in some trouble. All he can really do here is drop this Smuggler's Copter. It'll be a little bit shields down to this possible combo, and he might not know that it's coming at the end of the turn here.
I think if he resolves that Westvale Abbey, I honestly cannot see how Clayton climbs back into this, so...
Oof. And this is tough, too. We just saw a Fatal Push off the top. He could still create the Secure the Waste for 3 and be able to push either this Copter or the 5/5, depending on what he swings with here.
Yeah, that's so rough.
And we don't see an obvious... I mean, if he draws a 2-mana or 1-mana creature off the top, he'd be able to play that, but even just a land wouldn't put him in range of being able to play a creature and swing with both, so it's not a great position for him. Now, okay, he's only swinging with the 1 creature. What do you think the idea is there?
He might be trying to bluff some blocks, or maybe he just actually does want to block like that.
Okay, so you think if there was an attack, he'd like to block the 5/5 in the ground and the 3/3 in the air?
Well, that requires Clayton to also play another creature in order to attack with both. But
okay, which he did just hit another option of a creature. He drew a Hangerback Walker here. He could play that on 1 and be able to swing with the Copter and the 5/5. But optimally, I would see Ryan Fatal Pushing the 5/5 or the Copter, and then I think I would have liked the attack in there for 5, although it may not matter if he just ends up going to Westvale Abbey here.
You know, and especially with Clayton being stuck on lands, I think the Westvale Abbey is super, super safe, because you don't have to worry about the Bear of Silence making you sack either.
The Bearer of Silence, does he have anything like the Vraska's Contempt main board?
I do not believe so.
Alright, well, while we've got a slightly slow second here, I'm going to give a check at what the chat is saying, because we do have some Twitch chat going on here. Wow, we got quite a few people today. Glad to hear it, everybody.
And sorry about the technical issues. I hope it's still still fine to watch.
No, Thomas Snodgrass is going to tear us a new one.
So, am I lagging, or has the Hangerback Walker not been played?
Looks like you might be lagging a little bit. He's got it played. I see it tapping to crew the Copter right now.
Okay, yep, and I'm just now catching up. I could see the block here on the Copter. I don't think I want to block with a Bushwhacker, just because he can make the 4 tokens, like we said. Or he can even Fatal Push.
Yeah, I might prefer to Fatal Push the Copter here. It's probably the bigger threat, and then the question is whether or not he wants to chump block the Endless One, which will be a 5/5. So he would only have 3 tokens. He could still chump one of them and then still have enough to flip the Westvale Abbey, but then he would have no backup. So if he's really thinking about it, I guess that you're not at risk of Bearer of Silence this turn, so it's probably okay to take that chump block, but honestly, I might just rather have the creature in play. I don't think that right now you're losing the life battle on board.
So, Ryan also let him loot with a Copter. It probably won't end up mattering, but that's a very interesting decision on his part. I guess he's not going to Fatal Push, or else we would have seen that pre-combat.
I assume that he's not going to Fatal Push. He may try and multiple chump block here.
Oh, he
Well,
pushed the endless one.
Oh, he pushed the endless one. Okay. So that's a perfectly reasonable play. That saves him from more damage, but it does let him get that loot in there. And it looks like he's going to, for the 3, do this Secure the Wastes here. And I wonder if Clayton here can see the end.
That doesn't quite set up lethal, but had he attacked last turn, that would have been.
Mm-hmm. That would have been an additional 3. Yeah, would have been lethal right there. All right, so let's see what chat's saying. Yeah, they think we're LSV. They think we're awesome.
Oh, thank you. And for those who don't know, Kevin, you and I will actually be playing later on in the semifinals as well.
Yeah, maybe we can get these two to host our game. That would be pretty interesting.
Well, that would be interesting.
All right, so he sees the play. No mistakes there. He's going for the Westville Abbey, it looks like. I assume we leave up the... What do you think he leaves? Do you think he keeps the 2-1 and swings in for the extra damage, or do you think he leaves back the 1-1 lifelink as a blocker for something like this Hangerback Walker? Ooh, so something of note on that loot is that he did hit an extra land, so we are in potential, at least in Ryan's mind, that we are in potential Bear of Silence range. So I would be careful. Yeah, I think swinging with the Vampire or keeping the 2-1 is probably the smart move. You want to make sure you're buffering yourself for that sacrifice effect.
Yep, for sure.
All right, we've got a swing in for 10 life gain.
Man, I wish I could see this game. Sounds so fun.
Oh, are you you're still lagging here?
I'm still at the end of Clayton's turn, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna keep I'll keep talking about what's going on then, so that at least our listeners. All right. I mean, meanwhile, Twitch chat is talking about Approach, of course, which has kind of been a running meme. Although it sounds like Sam is here declaring that he will not be running Approach next season, which probably means it'll be in the sideboard and then the main board, and 4 or 5 of something like that.
He did put up a really good run this season, though, making it to the top 8.
Yeah, he definitely did. That Team BTE.
So I imagine he's just going to concede here.
Yeah, I don't see... Well, okay, he does have a chump block this turn. He's got a chump block this turn, maybe being able to buy some time towards the Bearer of Silence, but it's not going to be great. All right, passing back to Ryan here. He's got just a Goblin Rabble Master in hand. Just drew a Kolaghan's Command, so that's actually going to end the game right here. He'll be able to take out that Copter, which is his only chump blocker.
That game started out so good for Clayton, and then so quickly, just Ryan closed it out.
Yeah, he had that aggressive start, but he didn't really have the follow-up on it. He just kind of had a big swinging creature, almost kind of like what we see out of the Insol decks. All right, so he plays the Kolaghan's Command, and that'll force the Recession. Now let me go ahead and quick remind them that they do not sideboard here. So they're already ahead of me on that.
So these main board games definitely seem super heavily favored for Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is that those tokens are going to be pretty good at blocking here.
I think Clayton had pretty much everything he needed besides the lands, and clearly it didn't get there.
Yep, so... Yeah, we'll talk in a little bit about how much it gets better. As long as you were just mentioning it, do you... which of these two players do you want to see if you're going into the finals against one of them?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I've played against Clayton a lot, and so I feel like I know his deck better, and I'm more comfortable playing against it. But at the same time, Ryan was very underrated this entire season. Nobody ever talked about him like potentially being in the top 8, and then I felt like he was forgotten about when he was in the top 8.
So I think a little bit. I see what you mean there.
I almost wanted him to win just because he's like an underdog.
I think that both of these guys, they really are some... They're not an archetype that we really expected to be in the top 8, and they've just been playing great. They've been playing some really well-tuned decks and getting quite far with them. All right, so we've got a land, a land, and a Smuggler's Copter. We see Ryan breaking yet another fetch here. So he is quite fetch heavy for this 3-color deck. So I think that we've seen less of this lately. We've seen some of the wedge color decks being really big on the enemy duels that come in untapped. They've been big on the show lands and those kind of lands rather than being on a fetch mana base. But he's actually trying to do his 3 colors off of just fetches.
I think it depends on what your main color is for if you want to go with a fetch heavy base. It's like Mardu, for example, which is usually white based. I feel like you can get away with like the 8 fast lands.
Yeah, that's what I would think normally, but he is going for now. Here's where it's definitely awkward. Last game, he was taking a lot of damage off of fetch lands, but this game he's got a bunch of dual lands that are all going to come in tapped, so that's going to be slowing down his curve a little bit. Now you see he's playing the Smoldering Marsh here, but he's not going to have an untapped source for this Kolaghan's command on turn 3, so he's going to play just yet another turn behind. We'll see a Legion's Landing. He'll just make a 1/1, and that's not going to go that far.
And beyond that, he's also missing mana for both Kolaghan's Command and Gideon, like you said.
Ooh, now, actually what I see, though, is an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth in Clayton's hand, and if that's his only land drop, which it is, that's actually going to turn on Kolaghan's Command, which could backfire very badly for him.
Yeah, and he does go for the Urborg. I don't blame him. I think you have to in this spot.
But especially if he's running out this Matter Reshaper, he could take care of that and the Copter on... All right, so he is playing around that slightly. He's running out the Endless one instead, which is going to be a 3/3, so he's not able to take care of that and the Copter with just the Kolaghan's Command.
That's a pretty heads-up play from Clayton. I think a lot of players wouldn't think about that kind of thing.
Yeah, normally you would think to hold back your Endless ones, try and get them for as big as you can, especially in a matchup like this, but I think it makes a lot of sense to keep that Kolaghan's Command in mind. I mean, he just saw at the end of the last game. I'm sure it's fresh in his mind as something to worry about. And like I said, I know he's always very conscious of those artifact removal spells, that normally he sides out a lot of his artifacts in between games like this.
He truly is an expert with this archetype.
And what we'll really see is some of those utility lands he has really turn on. So right here, the Urborg didn't look great, but he's got this Field of Ruin, which will be very interesting. He's got the Ruins of Oran Reef, which is always great at making some of these big creatures. So I guess what he could do now, because he did the sequencing this way, is that now he can drop a Matter Reshaper and make it a 4/3.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great against Kolaghan's Command. But putting yourself at 3 mana this turn does make it kind of awkward for your next few turns, because as you see, he has Hangerback Walker, which is an even mana cost, then he has Raise the Alarm, Gideon. Yeah, of course, Gideon won't be able to be cast.
I might have still liked him playing the Westvale Abbey and being able to Kolaghan's Command, just to get rid of that the Smuggler's Copter getting in here. I'm not sure if he missed that line, if he didn't see the Urborg in play and think about it, but this is going to slow him down a little. I think he might be going for this Legion's Landing flip again. With the end of turn Raises the Alarm, actually will be able to turn on Gideon.
That's another good point. Although Gideon's not looking great right now.
It's not looking great against the Flyers, although it will still be able to take a hit from Smuggler's Copter and go on to live, which is pretty powerful.
Okay, another heads-up play from Clayton, turning off the Legion's Landing.
Yes, although he can... Yes, so he's going to Raise the Alarm here. He knew he was going to do that anyways. It will stop the flip, but he'll be able to keep the slightly stronger token, which is the 1/1 lifelink. And if anyone's not following the visual, he played the Bearer of Silence here for 4, which with that cast trigger, when he pays for it, the opponent must sacrifice a creature. So that's why he's sacrificing one of these creatures, but he wants one of these soldiers instead. Now, a card I see here in Clayton's hand is the Spatial Contortion. That's going to be pretty much just a removal spell in this, it looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in this matchup. There's pretty much nothing you want to hit that with. I guess there's Rabble Master, but...
Yeah, that's a good one to be able to hit with it, and I think he did just need the removal spells. He couldn't play more black removal spells with so little actual black in his deck. So I can see it. It also has some utility sometimes with, like, if he's swinging in with a Thought-Knot Seer, being able to pump that up into a 7/1.
Okay, and Ryan here is drawing the Windswept Heath. Wasn't punished for that at all. Going to be able to play Gideon, and that's what he wants to go for. Which I
Yep.
would do that
So
because the next turn you have access to 5 mana, so you can play your Hangerback Walker and your Kolaghan's Command.
that wouldn't be bad. I think that's probably the play worth going for here, assuming he has an untapped plains, which I assume he does. So he passed the turn right back. Can you, if you get a chance, can you quick check if he does have an untapped plains, or could you send me that deck list?
Yeah. 1 second. I'm pretty sure you would have to have a plains here if you're running the fetch mana base, so it makes sense.
Yeah, he is on Mardu, so I would be
Yeah,
surprised if he.
he has 3
I
plains, 3
guess
mountain, and 2 swamp.
you know what, I guess it just makes sense. He's got the 5 points of flying damage. It would have just come down and been a 2/2 and died. So I guess he'd rather go here for the Kolaghan's Command, destroying the copter as well as the bearer of silence here. That probably makes sense.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
I'm guessing yes. So he has to go and kill the bearer of silence. If he tries to kill the Matter Shaper here, he'll be able to put a counter on it instead. He says Reaver. I'm not sure if he meant. Okay, he meant bearer. That makes sense. All right, so that was the correct play. He didn't mess up and accidentally try and kill the Matter Shaper. And I don't think you really want to kill the Matter Shaper anyways. But now Ryan is preserving his life total. He's going to block and chump, actually gain a life in that trade. And now Gideon will look a little bit better coming down. He'll be a... well, it'll still not look great because it's going to come down against a 4/3 and a 3/3 here. So it doesn't have a good block, and it doesn't stop damage from coming through.
Yeah, that Spatial Contortion will also just get rid of the token if he wants to get rid of it immediately.
Yeah, that would soak up quite a bit of life, so it'll be a removal spell as well as that 7 damage, or 7 damage would be soaking up. Oh no, I guess he could swing with the Matter Shaper and the Endless One at him. Is probably the best play here. Ooh, so another good draw from Ryan here is a Fatal Push off the top.
And his mana is going to line up perfect for this as well.
Mm-hmm. Although if he was paying attention, he does have the black mana from the Urborg anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's going for Hangerback Walker rather than the Gideon.
I can definitely see why, because like we said, just a removal spell will be able to get rid of Gideon.
I mean, with the Fatal Push, that's not as true. He'd have been able to take care of either one of them, really.
True, very true.
So let's see what he goes for. Now this is interesting. So he could play the Nifnir Deadlands and minus on the Hangerback Walker, but that actually does not work favorably for him.
I wonder if he knows that if you put the counters on at the same time, it'll count.
It's a very interesting. It's a very interesting interaction. Is that if he kills him by putting the 2/1/1 counters on this Hangerback Walker, it will go to the graveyard as a 0/0 with 2/1/1 counters and 2+1/+1 counters, and it will therefore trigger for the 2 Thopters. And I know that Clayton is always cognizant of the power of his lands, so he's probably seeing that line. I'm not sure if he's thinking about that line.
I really don't know what other play he has. If he doesn't know about that ruling, that's going to be rough. Because I guess you could just run out like a pretty big endless one, but...
yeah, he could throw out a 6/6 and that would be interesting. Let's see here.
Okay, so it looks like he does at least know about it, or he didn't go for it.
I'm just checking out on chat here again if anyone has anything to say.
So that Fatal Push targeted the Matter Shaper, but that is an illegal target. Well, it's a legal target, so it's going to resolve.
It's not going to do anything useful for... okay. No, it looks like he's playing it on the Endless One. That makes more sense. So I assume he'll just take that. I don't think he wants to pop this Hangerback Walker. It's not going to turn on Legion's Landing if he does. So it would just be a block. And now I would assume we just run out the 6/6 Endless One.
I think that's what I'd be looking to do if I didn't try to kill that Hangerback Walker.
Yeah, that looks like a good play. Okay. So now what's Ryan hoping for? Is he hoping just for more Fatal Push, some way to get rid of the board here?
I think with a Westvale Abbey in play, at any point I'm hoping for a Secure the Waste.
Yeah, I think that's probably where he'd like to see now. Now he's running at least 2 of those. I don't know how many he actually has on his main board.
He has 3 main.
Okay, so that's a bit greedy in my opinion. I think that I would be I would have a hard time doing that, even with the Westvale Abbey, but, it really pays off when he can make that his main win con here. Alright, so Gideon's coming down. We're seeing a Knight Ally token. And we'll see where that goes from there.
I imagine that he's going to hold back the Hangerback Walker here. You can't really attack into that unless he wants to get all the tokens. But even
No,
so, I
think
think it's one for the blocker, so you can get the extra token whenever you tap it.
Exactly. So what Clayton can do now is he does have that Spatial Contortion to take care of the Knight Ally, and he'll be able to kill Gideon if he swings with both creatures there. But that does offer the trade for Meta Reshaper into getting 3 copters out of it, which is not great for Japan, or for Clayton, especially because he could then swing back, flip the Legion's Landing, and be able to forever chump in with the Legion's Landing tokens from the backside.
So it looks like he's just going to go for the attack.
Okay, he's going to go for the attack without the Spatial Contortion in front of it.
And Clayton's going to have a really big Hangerback Walker of his own.
That's going to be good. Well, let's see here. Okay, so he's going for that play. He's going to throw the Hangerback Walker there and pump it. Okay, so that looks like he's not blocking the Endless one, though.
It's kind of interesting. I don't know that I'm blocking with a Hangerback Walker there if I'm just trying to get it to die. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, no, it would actually trade, so I think that was a good play. The weird thing is not blocking the Endless. I'm not sure why he wouldn't want to do that. I think that the Knight Ally token is probably not worth what. The Gideon would just be able to make a new one the next turn. Maybe he was thinking that the Endless one here had trample. I guess that this... In the end, this actually helped him out because now he does have the 3 creatures to flip Legion's Landing, which he wouldn't have if he had used Gideon, unless if he just turned Gideon into a creature. So never mind that. Yeah, I don't think there was much value to that play. Now, what did you think about C-Squared's play here of Spatial Contortion before damage on that Hangerback Walker?
It's pretty smart because you just want to get like as many blockers out of the way as you can at this point. You're trying to end the game. At the same time, I wonder if that's going to come into play if he draws a Rabble Master, because that's going to be really good against Clayton right now without any removal.
Yeah, that would be quite scary. So what I think Clayton has been trying to do here for a while is get rid of all these cards in his hand so that he'll be able to turn on Seagate Wreckage.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, all of his utility lands are so good in this deck.
So the Seagate Wreckage, if anyone's unfamiliar, is the 2 and a colorless tap, draw a card, which you can only activate if you have no cards in hand. Alright, so what I'm probably going to see is we're just going to see these 3 creatures attack. We'll see the Legion's Landing flip and probably play a new one, and then just be able to sit there and... actually, he doesn't have a second white source, so it would depend on whether he thinks it's worth... playing the second Legion's Landing or just getting a new token from the backside of this.
I think I want to start doing the tokens.
Because you can play the Legion's Landing later if you...
Oh no, he does have
4.
He does have 2 white sources.
Oh, okay, yeah, the second Plains. That Plains is not an art I really recognize. It looked like a mountain.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I also thought that was a mountain.
And we're actually at a dangerous place now with this Legion's Landing from the hand and the Adanto, the first fort, being able to activate and play. That's going to put him up to 4 creatures already. So he's getting closer and closer to that Westvale Abbey activation that we're so afraid of. 1, 2, 3... So, but even if he played this land and drew another untapped land, he would not be able to activate the first fort next turn and Westvale Abbey on the same turn.
Yeah, it's true.
For what that's worth.
So it seems like Clayton's also having some issues right now.
Alright. Looks like the Hangerback Walker traded. It's going to pop out into a couple Thopters of his own.
There we go.
And those will be nice if we can see some of those Ghostfire Blades show up. I think that would be a good out for C-Squared. Now, here's a question, is does he want to activate the Seagate Wreckage on his upkeep before draw? Okay, so he said no. It was a question for a second there, but now that question is gone.
I think I personally would have gone for it because there's not a
Mhm.
lot I'm looking for that costs more than 3 mana in his deck. I mean, there
Yeah.
is like the Thought-Knot Seer, but Thought-Knot Seer is not worth a lot right now.
So he's able to swing. He's got the Murderous Cut if he does want to trade for something here. Now this is so good. He's able to make a second vampire. He can block both of the big creatures, and he'll actually end up taking nothing here.
So it looks like Clayton's going to kill off one of the tokens before blocks.
I guess that's an option. Yeah, so he can Murderous Cut before blocks. It gets through 5 damage that he wouldn't have otherwise.
I like
If
that with Ryan only being at 10.
mhm.
You're really forcing him to be on this plan of chump block, which is going to turn off the Westville Abbey.
Now, if he was on that plan, do you think it would have been worth
Oh, actually,
activating the
Clayton just has
Infinite
lethal
Deadlands
because he can
beforehand?
activate the
The Infinite
the
Deadlands can
Deadlands.
activate as a sorcery, but he could throw the
Oh,
Seagate Wreckage up and hopefully find a Fatal Push if he's doing that before blocks. It does not look like he is.
I forgot that was a sorcery. So
I think that he could have. Yeah, I think that if he was paying attention, he could have had lethal there. He could have activated the Deadlands before blocker or before attackers, and he would have just been counting on Ryan not having anything in hand, which we know is true, but he may not have known.
so you're playing around exactly Fatal Push there, I think.
You're also playing around a Secure the Wastes would have been very bad, or a what is the one that makes the 2 tokens? The Raise the Alarm would have also worked in that situation.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I was thinking about the fact from trying to not be blown up by a removal spell, but those
Mm-hmm.
tokens are equally as bad for that play.
Yeah, so it was a risky play that we can see now would have given him the win here, but it's still not a bad position for Clayton. He's got 2 creatures that are lethal on board. He's got his opponent forcing to chump, although that down to the first fort is going to look pretty good against the 7/7 that does not have. And that's kind of what we said is he's got a lot of these big creatures without trample. It makes tokens look very good.
Yeah, and like we said in the sideboard game, so at least be able to get the Reality Smasher, which should be able to do a lot of damage.
So, Smuggler's Copter, what does this change or not change for him here?
Um, I guess he can hold on to that land and try to loot it away.
Yeah,
But
that's definitely a useful. I think that makes it worth keeping that land in hand.
it's not a
Now here we're
great
going to see
draw
the
though.
activation of Seagate. Now if he draws Fatal Push, now he's going to look foolish because he would have had lethal. Nope.
Another endless one.
Which isn't bad. It uses all of his mana, but that means he's not going to get an extra card with the Seagate Wreckage if that was something he was interested in. Oh, now you know what we haven't even talked about, and I think we should have been. He has Field of Ruin in play.
That's very true.
That
Now is a
very
time that
relevant
he
in
could
this
get rid of this
matchup
Westville
against.
Abbey.
It's a time he can get rid of the Westvale Abbey now, or he can just, if he's holding up 3 mana, at any time he can get rid of that Westvale Abbey.
There's also the part of you that wants to get rid of the Adonto, because making all these tokens is really going to slow him down.
It definitely is. It's tough here. I think that if he's still worried about. Well, I think at this point we know that if he had the Secure the Waste, he would have played it last turn. So he doesn't have to worry about that right this second. I think the bigger worry is right now that Westvale Abbey. But let's see what he does here. I would guess if we're blocking with the Smuggler's Copter, we're Matter Shaper, right?
That's what I would think.
So I would assume we crew with a copter on the Smuggler's Copter, and then the Vampire goes on the Endless one, the Smuggler's Copter goes on the Matter Shaper, assuming he doesn't have any kind of kill spell.
He also might just want to be getting rid of the flyers from Clayton's side.
Well, the Flyers did not swing it. He held those 2 up.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't see
I
that.
think that he realized he didn't want to give him a loot and just let one of those Thopters get eaten away.
Right.
Ooh. So he looted, and it gave him a Gideon, which is definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, having both Gideon and the Adonto online, it's gonna be putting out a lot of bodies each turn. If
So
nothing
Gideon
else, it'll
online.
help him stabilize.
Now let's see what he gets off of this trigger from the Matter Shaper, because that's also going to matter here. Just a Reaver Drone, so just a 2-1. It's another body. He could turn it up into a 3-2 if he wants to activate that Ruins of Oran-Reef. It does say put into play this turn.
So if I'm Clayton, I just want to go as wide as possible right now.
So do you think you run out both creatures, or do you think...
I think I'm tempted to make both of them 2/2s and just get them out there.
I think you could actually do... See, you can make the one a 3/3 and the other a 2/2. If you'd pay for the Endless 1 for 3, and then the Hangerback 1 for 1, and put the extra counter on it. Okay, or you can put the extra counter here on the Reaver Drone. So he's doing that, and he's playing the Endless 1 for 5. So that's spreading out big bodies. I think that just the 2/2s might have been a little anemic against... Well, let's see here. I like the 5/5 here, I think, because he is at 5 right this second. So being able to have a 5 power creature and a 6 power creature in play is going to be good.
Yeah, definitely.
And we know he's not flipping Westvale Abbey this turn. As far as the question of whether we want to get rid of the Adanto, I don't think with the backup Legion's Landing there that that's worth the while. I think the Westvale Abbey is the much bigger threat still.
I completely agree with that.
Alright, I'm going to give another check into chat here and see what people are saying.
So Ryan's going to draw the Hangerback Walker, which is going to make more bodies throughout time.
Yeah, so he's going with the Hangerback Walker rather than the Gideon. That makes sense. Just a 2/2 wouldn't have done all that much, but this will actually get him into some bodies.
This Mardu's deck is like really spinning its wheels, just waiting to draw one of its big haymakers. And Clayton drawing the Thought-Knot Seer is going to be such a good payoff for him.
Ooh, yeah, so he's going to be able to take that Gideon away, which is going to be nice. He doesn't have lethal, though, I believe. Let me see. So even if he uses this, if near Deadlands... Okay, so he's just swinging out first. I don't really like that. If it's Fatal Push in Ryan's hand here, then I think he would have much rather played the Thought-Knot Seer beforehand, because otherwise he'll be able to trade here, and then the Thought-Knot Seer will die to the Fatal Push.
Right.
Just, the sequencing is probably fine this way, but it's not a big difference.
So we're going to see 3 more Thopters. Then we'll be able to get its 1/1 Vampire next turn if he has nothing else after the Thought-Knot Seer, assuming that's what we see from Clayton.
Mm-hmm. And we see 2 damage coming through.
So slowly but surely he is chipping away.
Yeah, and we're going to see another 5/5 probably here with the Thought-Knot Seer. I think that might be better than... The other option would be to play the 4/4 and play a 1/1, just to get as many bodies on the board as possible.
Yep, and he's going to play a Thought-Knot Seer.
Okay. Good stuff. So he reveals the Gideon, and that's going to go bye-bye. Now I think what he's really still drawing to is that Secure the Wastes. I don't know what else he has that will bring him back from this position.
Yeah, he's 1 land short from being able to go Raise the Alarm into Westvale Abbey.
Mm-hmm. He could...
Okay, he's just going to concede, actually.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the sideboard. Let's talk about Clayton's first.
If it was exactly Raise the Alarm, he would have been able to flip there, but only defensively.
True.
So he could have attacked for the 3 and flipped that second Adanto for the extra mana he needed.
So what do you like out of Clayton's sideboard in these post-sideboard games?
Okay, so out of Clayton's sideboard, let's see here. So Ballista immediately looks very good. That's going to take care of all those little annoying tokens that have been blocking all of his creatures. Brutality, probably not. It might be okay, though. So it takes care of a small creature and gets rid of some of the really nasty instants out of his hand. But I think that some of the biggest cards from Ryan's deck are still the creatures, the planeswalkers that the Collective Brutality doesn't hit. For the same reason, I'm not probably sold on Duress, depending on how much he wants to take out. Now, Reality Smasher, absolutely. I'd say that's a right away we want that. Warping Whale, probably not. I think that some of the other removal, the Warping Whale, the Spatial Contortion, the Stain the Mind, aren't really for this, as well as this Transgress the Mind. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think Warping Whale hits any sorceries in his deck, does it? Is he playing any sorceries?
Not really.
Okay, yeah, he's playing 2 Declaration Stone sideboard. But I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with Clayton's sideboard.
So the one thing I would like to talk is what he might want to take out, which we haven't seen.
I think you brought up a good point that he does get really scared of that artifact removal.
On the other hand, I don't know if he can afford it. I think that he does have to get that beatdown going in this game, that with only 2 Reality Smashers, he can't wait and run himself into something like the Westfield Abbey flipping and just lose that game.
Yeah,
so that's a big risk.
That's something I was right about to get at, is like he still needs those things. Like you said, Bearer of Silence, pretty bad. It can deal with the Ormondal, but he has to have an empty board. Mm-hmm. Reaver Drone's going to look pretty bad as a 2-1, just getting eaten by those tokens. So I think those are the cards I'm looking at the most, or Reaver Drones and Bearer of Silence.
I think that Murderous Cut could probably be upgraded by turning it into something like a Collective Brutality or the Walking Ballista, of course, if he's looking for some extra slots to cut. But it does seem also hard to take out those flyers when that's really his best way through on damage.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, so let's take a look at Ryan's sideboard and see what he has here.
So, out of Ryan's sideboard, the Declaration of Stones might be pretty nice against the Hangerback Walkers. Of course, it's a catch-all for like any of his endless ones, like we saw a bunch that game. Of course, just spot removal in general. If he's hoping to grind, these Outpost Siege are essentially a free draw spell every game. Authority of the Consuls would be good against Reality Smasher. It won't be great, of course, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite that slow. I think Murderous Cut might be a good idea to hit some of those big creatures, as well as probably Declaration in Stone. Although it'll be tough, Deck in Stone as a 3-for-1ing yourself against a Reality Smasher doesn't feel great. I don't think Spyglass, I don't think Authority of the Consuls, I don't think Tormod's Crypt. They're not really for this matchup.
Hushwing Griff does hit a surprising amount.
Now, the Bearer of Silence is a cast trigger. It doesn't hit that.
It also misses the Hangerback Walker, but I believe it hits the Endless one?
No, the Endless one is a Enters with.
Oh, is it? That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are actually starting here. Japan Hobbyist has got a 5-card hand he's keeping.
Oh, okay. So a Fatal Push, Bushwhacker, and a Smuggler's Copter with a Swamp and a Wooded Foothills.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton's hand is kind of slow, but it should be okay in this matchup. The double Fatal Push is going to be rough for Clayton.
Yeah, that's going to slow him down a little bit. Although if he plays this Hangerback Walker, that'll look a little better.
This Bearer of Silence also lines up so poorly with Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah, it really does. There's no way to hit it with the trigger. It can't block anyways, even if it could block the flyer. But the problem on Ryan's side is that he doesn't have a foul in hand.
Yeah, he can't even play his Bushwhacker.
No, not without something like a Hangerback Walker, and I don't think I like that play. Alright, so we're going to see a fetch. I think he has these fetches in here just to turn on Fatal Push, so he doesn't have any other colored mana in there.
Another land from Clayton. That's not what I'd want to see. I'd want to see a Smuggler's Copter or something around, something like that. Maybe a removal spell.
Yeah, I mean, getting to 5 lands is probably where he eventually wants to be, but it's not very necessary, especially early. Anything more than that will be flooding out a bit.
So we're probably going to see a Hangerback Walker for 1 here, and then Crew the Copter. I'd probably get rid of the Bushwhacker with his hand right now.
You don't think he's going to play the Hangerback Walker for 0 so you can play the Bushwhacker?
That is a pro play, but...
No, that's one of the... Okay, so he'll be able to fly over the head of this Hangerback Walker, get in for 3. That's definitely a definitely very good draw for Japan off the top.
So, which one of these decks do you think is more of the beatdown deck generally in this matchup? That's a question I like to ask at the beginning of every game I play.
I think that Clayton is forced into being the beatdown role because he has trouble with some of the real haymakers out of Ryan's deck.
So Ryan got rid of the Secure the Waste there. I guess he's planning to be full aggro this match.
Yeah, I think that's the right choice. The Secure the Waste isn't better than anything else in his hand, unless he's really getting to 5-6 lands at the very least. And if he's drawing 4 more lands in the next 4 turns, that's just awful for him. So I'm happy with that throwaway. I don't think it's better than Fatal Push, and I think the Bushwhacker will sooner have impact.
So Clayton did draw a Matter Reshaper, being able to get another body on the board.
That's good. That fits in nicely here. Now he's got the Raise the Alarm with no white mana, so that's going to sit a little awkwardly. He'll just get another swing in. He'll get a loot, which will look nice.
So I think you have to play the Thought-Knot Seer here if you're Clayton. You don't have to, but I think you should. That's going to look okay against these Fatal Pushes, unless he draws another fetch or something around that.
Off the top.
Right.
Yeah. So then it would look really bad if he gets something like the Windswept Heath and can go fetch for Raise the Alarm and get the Fatal Push.
So I just checked my Discord, and Clayton did recognize that he had the Ifnir for lethal. I guess he just forgot about that from the last game.
I mean, like we said, there were things that he was playing around by doing it that way, but he got there anyway, so it was good. I'm going to pause for 1 second here, if you don't mind continuing.
So as we see, Ryan's still off the white mana. Just going to pass it back. It's going to open up Clayton to be able to play either a Bearer of Silence or Thought-Knot Seer, or even just hold up removal. I think I personally play the Thought-Knot Seer. So it looks like he's only attacking with a Matter Reshaper, allowing himself to tap the Hangerback Walker to put another counter on it, and play a Bearer of Silence just as the 2-1 body, holding back the Fatal Push as well if he doesn't ever let that out. So Fatal Push is going to hit the Bearer of Silence. I think that's a pretty good play. Your Fatal Push is pretty dead in this matchup for the most part. Getting rid of the flyer is going to be nice.
Alright, I am back. So he went for the Bearer of Silence rather than the... Okay, so he's holding up the Fatal Push, I see.
No, I think this is a really good play on Clayton's part. Because now he's able to grow his Hangerback Walker. His Thought-Knot Seer is now safe against removal.
And he gets rid of the Copter, which is the only thing that was helping Ryan here.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And the Fatal Push is going to hit the Matter Reshaper, so he's in really bad shape right now.
Yeah, that never feels great if he's going to be able to replace it with something. If he hits a Matter Reshaper, that's really, really bad, but I think he just had to save some of his life points here.
A nice heads-up play by Clayton. What's that? Oh, when he does hit another Matter Reshaper.
Okay, yeah, he hits like I said, another Matter Reshaper. He always had it.
So if Clayton can win this first sideboard game, that's going to be really, really rough for Ryan.
Yeah, I thought that he was in a tough position, but this is looking good. He's going to swing in here for 5, and he's going to take... What do you think you'll take here with the Thought-Knot Seer?
I think you want to take the Raise the Alarm, because I just want to get as many bodies out of the way as possible. I think that gaining a life isn't going to be the best thing for him. Yeah, and Clayton does just take the Raise the Alarm with a Thought-Knot Seer. Ryan's still unable to cast any spells. Drawing the Kolaghan's Command. So Clayton doesn't quite have lethal, but has him on a 2-turn clock. Without any removal, I don't see how Ryan's able to get out of this game. We could even see the double Bearer of Silence from Clayton after this, being able to get in for at least 2 in the air, and forcing the block on either the other Bearer of Silence or the Thought-Knot Seer. Gonna trade with this Matter Reshaper, it looks like.
Alright, thank you for keeping me covered there. My wife was feeding our snake and needed a hand real quick.
Okay, no problem.
Alright, so I'm back. So I see that, he's got that chump. He took the Raise the Alarm with the Thought-Knot Seer. I think that makes a lot of sense. And now Ryan is
And
he's in
hitting the
trouble
Smuggler's
here.
Copter is a really good hit, in my opinion. Because now you're able to go double Bearer of Silence this turn, and the next turn Thought Not Seer, accrue the Copter. And I don't think Ryan has any way to stop that.
Well, let's see how much damage that is now. If he does hit a land here, he's got that Kolaghan's Command in hand. It won't look terrible. He'll be able to take out the Copter and maybe the Hingerback Walker if he swings with that. But I assume we'll just see that grabbed here with the new Thought Not Seer.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan has any outs. I can't think of anything at all.
I mean, I don't know if he's dead this turn, if he could hit a white land and play both of his cards in hand, but that's just it's a land, but it's not going to help much. He can play the 2/2 or the 2/1 and just get swung in for the air.
Yeah.
All right.
So Clayton's up 2-1 going into game 4.
Yeah, not quite what we thought was going to happen here.
And as we've said before, these sideboard games I think are even better for Clayton.
Really? So yeah, I think I agree there. I think that it was a surprise that he managed to get the pre-sideboard game. That one, it looked like there was a just that bad mold of 5. Never saw a third land until he was dead there.
I think Ryan being on the play here will help a lot. This seems to be a very important one-turn game. I think we saw last game he might have had the chance to turn on Ormondal at a certain point, although Clayton probably would have played around that by not tapping his Field Ruin for mana.
Mm-hmm.
But still interesting nonetheless, that potentially could have swayed things.
All right, I'm going to do a quick check here on Twitch chat, see if they've got anything that they're any useful information. How many times they saw lethal before we did, anything like that. No, they're all talking about so the deck lists for the new season of the Untap Open League are going to be going on tomorrow. So I think people here are talking about what they think people will be playing too. Sounds like a cat combo. I don't know if that's true. We'll see.
That's an interesting choice. I think a lot of people are looking at cat combo and either as playing it or they think it's going to be part of the meta game.
I think that we really had the Delirium decks fall out not because of Graveyard Hate, but because of cat combo and things like that. So if the metagame moved to Delirium this season, then it does make some sense for it to move on to cat combo next season. Even though of the 2 Jund Delirium decks that made it into the top 8, we no longer have any left in the top 4.
You don't consider your deck to be Jund Delirium?
I don't think I consider my deck to be Jund Delirium. I have some Delirium cards in it, but I don't need Delirium, and my deck really stops at a card count of 4. I never really get to the 5, 6, 7 that Delirium can do.
Sure, that makes sense.
Which is why I'm not running the Emrakul main deck, is that it ends up being an 8 or a 9 drop, which is pretty expensive.
So both players are going to keep here. Both have 4-lane hands. I think it's fine for Ryan. It's a little worse for Clayton, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that on the play, the 4-land hand doesn't look bad. He's got a clear curve here. Okay, so the draw of Thought Not Seer just made the curve for Clayton a little bit better. So he's got the 4 lands here. He's got a Smuggler's Copter. He's got probably a 3-drop Endless one. He chose not to play the Endless 1/1, which I think is a correct decision against tokens.
Definitely.
There are obviously games where it makes sense, like game 1 where he could equip the blade right away. Now I haven't seen a Ghostfire blade yet. Do you think that he took those out?
I don't think he would. I think it's still one of the better cards in the matchup whenever you're able to fly on top of the tokens.
Well, I definitely think the Copter is absolutely worth leaving in because it flies. I'm not sure about the Ghostfire blade.
So I think we're just going to see... Okay, he went with Legion's Landing. I would have expected the Hangerback Walker and then holding up the Fatal Push.
Yeah, I think he could have done that. I mean, this way he gets to hold... I guess he can do both, but now he can't hold up the Fatal Push for the opponent's Smuggler's Copter. So I guess he's just saying, it's a race. I'm going to do you 20 damage before you do me 20 damage.
I guess this is going to work out for him.
Yeah, we'll see here, and let's see what this loot brings as well, because I like his hand right now. I don't know if anything... Okay, so he's actually choosing not to loot whatsoever, which I rarely think that's the right idea. I think that getting rid of the top card of your deck into the graveyard is probably better than not, but...
And I think right here is not an exception at all. I think that you still want to loot here.
Yeah, and if nothing else, he's giving a lot of information by saying, hey, these 3 cards in my hand, I want all right now. These are all cards I want to keep.
Yeah, definitely.
Even more so when we eventually get a Thought-Knot Seer, which could take some of those cards out of that hand.
So I'm assuming we're going to see the Endless one for 3 here.
That would make the most sense.
Yep, we're going to see the Endless one. I think now is a good time to crew and just get in for the attack. You're not...
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's blocking here with a Smuggler's Copter. That's always risky to try and do, is to try and block an opponent's Smuggler's Copter with yours.
Yeah, and you're also just dodging the removal here for at least 1 turn. And with 3 lands in hand, with 3 in play, I think it's very safe to just stitch 1.
Although it does look like he drew... Okay, so he drew a land and got rid of it. Alright, so Japan, he would have been able to see that, raise the alarm on the top and throw it away. That probably wouldn't have been terrible.
But it looks like he's going to play it here regardless.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any other better play here for him. He left open the black mana for Fatal Push, which was correct.
I think that you could still even hold that in your hand and loot with Copter, because I don't think it's great here. I guess it's going to turn on his Adonto, and then he's hoping to flip his Westvale Abbey with another land. Maybe that's his game plan.
That's actually, he's already... Yeah, with another land, he's already risking that. Now, is he going to loot here is the question. Hopefully he does think to. Actually, if he wanted to, he could simply play that Secure the Waste in order to get the extra creature he needs in play.
Yeah, that's also true.
So he chose not to loot again, so that's a little bit strange. We'll see what he does with that.
So Clayton's in a tough spot here. I wonder if he's worried about the Westvale Abbey flipping. Because if he is, I think you need to get rid of it right now.
I think that he could get rid of it right now. That doesn't feel great. His other option might be to play this Walking Ballista and shoot down a couple of 1/1s.
That's also fair. Either way, you're kind of time walking yourself in a way.
I mean, what he can do is he could play the Walking Ballista, crew with it, get rid of 2 1/1s, and get in for 6.
He could also play the Field of Ruin, get rid of the Westvale Abbey, and still play the Walking Ballista for 1.
He would only have 4 mana, so he wouldn't be able to play it for...
Well, the Field of Ruin gives you a land as well.
So it replaces itself with a land, so he would be able to have 2 lands there, assuming he still has another swamp, which is a big question here. How many does he run in the main deck?
Ooh, that is a good question. So he's going for the Blighted Fin, which also insurance against Ormondal.
That's good. Okay, so he does have that other option there. So he's going for the Walking Ballista. It's on 2, and I assume we'll see a crew. Yep. And then I guess we would probably take out the untapped creature and the lifelinker.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Or he can just swing. I think that's perfectly fair. I mean, he's now risking... I think that right now, if he went for Secure the Waste, that he would... Okay, sorry, a lot of things going on here. So he did not choose to Fatal Push the Smuggler's Copter before the attacks here.
What are you holding on to right now? Do you just want to play it for 3 so that you can still have 5 creatures?
Maybe he was just planning on that Secure the Waste to be able to... Ooh, so he's pushing the We've got to see what he's fail pushing here, because
He's
I've got to assume
pushing the
it's not the
ballista?
ballista. That would be not a very good play. Oh, okay, so he is pushing the ballista here.
I don't really understand that, but
Yeah,
I
don't
guess
see
he
that
wants to
line
get
at
rid
all.
of that so that he's just not like paying 4 to get rid of a creature every turn.
I mean, we were literally saying that a good line would have been taking care of that creature and the vampire, and he got that as well as getting a fatal push out of his hand.
Yeah, that turned out really well for Clayton. We're seeing the land here, which will represent Ormondal.
Yes, he did, although Clayton has been wisely holding back his Field of Ruin for that.
Yeah, Clayton's a very patient player, and it pays off for him very often.
Yeah, so playing out the Blighted Fen also would have been a nice way to kind of hide some of that, but that takes one more land to activate. So I think that it's safer to play that out, hold back the Field of Ruin as your surprise. Did we ever get an answer on how many swamps Clayton is running in his deck?
Ooh.
Because I know it's not too many.
I imagine with all the fetch lands, it's got to be quite a few. He's playing 4.
Okay, so he does have one more in his deck that he could theoretically grab with that Field of Ruin, as long as he doesn't draw it.
So,
and that does mean that his Bloodstained Mire he just drew is not going to be able to grab a land if he does that.
yeah, it kind of puts him in an awkward spot. Almost turning that Field of Ruin into a Ghost Quarter, but he can also just loot away that Bloodstained Mire. That might be what he's thinking about.
Yeah, I think that'll be a safe play. Okay, so he's just going to go ahead and get rid of this Westvale Abbey. Do you think it's worth activating it for a 1/1? Probably not. I think he'd rather activate a Danto with that mana. Or simply use it.
I might even secure the waste. I guess it doesn't matter. If it, yeah, the land does come in untapped, so
either way, he should tap it for mana before he sacrifices it.
Yeah,
because he's got plenty of things to do with it. Ooh, which I don't know if he did. It does not look like he did that.
It didn't look like it. And I think him saying that he's going to fetch as well kind of puts it past the point of him trying to be like, oh, I'm also going to tap it for mana. So it does just seem like he missed that. Or he's just not interested in it, either or. If he's just going... I mean, it's just strict upside, but if he's just going for the Adanto, it's not a huge deal. So we're going to see a crew with a copter.
Okay.
Gotta imagine we're going to see a loot. Yep. Seeing Endless One, of course, going to get rid of the Bloodstained Mires. It doesn't have any swamps left to hit.
And now we'll see... Oh, the Matter Shaper come down as a 3/2. It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
So, what he is at risk of now is a Westvale Abbey off the top.
Yeah. That'd be a pretty dangerous play.
That would be actually lethal. Now, the one thing he could have done is he could have made
actually, I
Walker
think
1 larger instead.
Does Hobbyist just have lethal? Does Ryan have lethal regardless? Clayton has
here.
1 blocker. 3 is going to get through in the air.
So I see 5,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think that might... Oh, and that will definitely do it.
We were also focused on the Ormondal. We forgot the life totals, but this is going to force a game 5.
Yes, it will.
And just playing the Sorin for the rub-ins, I guess.
Oof.
Alright, with Clayton on the play, I almost want to say he's favored. This does seem like a rough matchup for him, but if he can get that Reality Smasher down on curve...
Yeah, I think that post
might be
board
really
on play
good.
does not look bad. I mean, this will be his first... That's actually the question is, would you want to change anything for him on the play versus on the draw? So I think that on the play, he's definitely the aggro list. We were unsure in some of the other games, but I think that on the play, he definitely will be. Does that mean...
I think the cards that are good against Ryan are good on the play and the draw. I don't think there's a lot of change that you want to make between the two games.
I think my one question is whether or not he took out those Ghostfire Blades. If he took them out, I would want them back in on the play.
That is a good point, yeah.
Alright, so we've got some hands here. We see 7 from both players. Oop, looks like a mulligan for Ryan.
So Clayton's hand is triple copter. I'm definitely going to mulligan that.
Yeah, without any way to crew him, I don't like that. Oof, so he's got a 1-lander now. I don't know if he can keep that either.
No, not with a...
play. Yeah, not on the play.
He did put on the Warping Whale. I don't really understand what that's for.
So it can exile something like the Goblin Bushwhacker?
I suppose so? It seems very narrow. Okay, and this is pretty much the same hand.
This might be a very fast Game 5, unfortunately.
From Ryan's side, he does have a very reactive hand.
That's true.
And he doesn't have white mana.
Quick. Okay, so Clayton's going to keep with that. He sees 1 land. It's better than no lands. And he scryed to the bottom, which is a bad sign.
This looks bad for Clayton, but I don't think that it's necessarily a death sentence. Well, planes off the top is pretty bad.
Yeah, especially with the Kolaghan's Command as an option. If he's playing Kolaghan's Command on 3, that's really, really bad. Even if it's something like Kill Bearer and...
Okay,
so we do see the Caves of Koilos. That's what he needed, but it doesn't stop there.
You think we're going to see a Fatal Push here?
I think it might be worth it to hold back and expect the Kolaghan's Command to be good, but it's hard to say for sure.
So the fact that he played the Bloodstained Mire, he's at least thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And a third land for Clayton. This hand's turning into a very solid hand.
Yeah, it's still going to have trouble with this Kolaghan's Command. I mean, he could trade with like the Matter Reshaper and the Spatial Contortion out of his hand. That's still dangerous. Or we might just see a push here on the Matter Reshaper.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see, which I think lines up profitably for Clayton comparatively to the other play.
You know, it's still not a great feeling. We have seen a lot of Matter Shapers get pushed in this matchup, and that's not great for the person on the push side of it, because he's 2-for-1ing himself here.
Yeah, exactly. And if he turns over something else like a Matter Shaper again or something like that,
or even just a land would not be bad.
True, very true.
There you go.
So Clayton's hand turned up to be pretty good. Pretty solid 5.
What we were expecting from a keep on 1.
So we could see this Kolaghan's Command in the draw step. I don't know how much value there is to that.
With other cards in hand, I don't think that there's a big use to that. It'd make more sense to do it before he draws to get rid of what we would assume is better cards. You'd rather not give him more options if he's going to be discarding.
Yeah, exactly.
The question is whether he'd rather take the 2 and see if there's a juicier target for Kolaghan's Command, or whether he wants to just, stop the bleeding here, kill the bearer, and take a card out of his hand.
At 17, I think I'm okay to take 2 damage.
The question is, I think if he runs out this Thought-Knot Seer before attacks, he'll definitely do that play.
Yeah, I think I like holding the Thought-Knot Seer for second main, and it looks like Clayton does too.
Okay, exactly. I think that was a good call. We'll still see the same result here. I think that's right for both sides, but that's about what we were expecting. Oh, and that always hurts when you're on that kind of mulligan and you're losing a card. So we got rid of the Fatal Push. He is really valuing that Spatial Contortion.
I guess he thinks the spatial contortion can also be a pump spell if it needs to be.
No, that's yeah, that's the Spatial. That's what he can do with it. But I was thinking this is also a Warping Whale, the same amount of cost here.
Either way, I think I personally would rather keep the fatal push.
I guess the only real risk would be like Rebel Master. He can't currently Fatal Push the Rebel Master without breaking the Field of Ruin, which he wants to keep for the
Well,
Western
he
Labs
can't
things.
even crack the field of ruin because he only has basics.
True. It's very true. That's unusual from Ryan's side, considering how many tap lands he has.
So if Ryan plays a Sorin, the spatial contortion will deal with the token. Okay, looks like he's just playing the raise the alarms, which is definitely the correct play.
Yeah, I think better. Okay, so this is a 4/4 endless one. That's it's something. It's a clock. I don't think Ryan wants to chump block here. I don't know if his life total is that important yet. Listen, no, he said no. He took the 4 damage. And we're going to see this endless one as a 4.
We are seeing kind of what we saw in the previous games, though, where this tokens deck just clogs up the ground. And if nothing else, it makes it difficult for Clayton to start closing out the game, where against most decks, these 4/4s would be very big.
And the other option that he has here is just play the Sorin plus up, and then he's got 2 2/1s, which are pretty hard for him to attack into. So
Well,
he sees
that might be what Ryan
Legion's Landing.
thinks, but the spatial contortion will make that.
Yeah, that was Spatial Contortion will make that very good. The risk there would be that wouldn't kill Sorin. That would only bring it down to 1.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I guess that it would not kill Sorin if he chump. Yeah, probably he wouldn't chump. It's still not a great line.
I think we'll probably just see the. I think the Legion's Landing. We could see Raise the Alarm and then Legion's Landing flip the following turn.
Yeah, I think I would rather see the alarm. Yeah, he's going with that same play. Get all those creatures on board. If he could swing in for 8 here, completely return the life total that he would have lost.
So I doubt we're going to see this play, but there's a chance that Ryan might quadruple block.
I don't like that play into open mana.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew he threw away that fatal push. He's got to be keeping something else that is better in this situation.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that you probably don't block here, yeah. With the Adonto play.
He'll be able to. He can swing back for 8, might be the better play. If he's really lucky, he'll also hit something off that Legion's Landing, be able to. Or like hit another white land. He could keep the Legion's Landing back as a 2/1, swing in for 8. We will see what he's got. If Clayton pulls off this win, though, I think we're all going to be very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, he can win from anything with this Eldrazi deck, it seems like. He's come back from some really dangerous board states. And hands, too. I mean, that opening hand was awful.
Yeah, it was. Pretty amazing where that came back from. So we have... How many people do we have online right now? Twitch?
I am not sure of that.
I'm not sure how to check.
Not sure how to do it on mobile.
Oh, okay. And that's where you'd have to... Oop, nope, I don't want to click on followers page. Oh, no. Alright, let me keep following the game here. So, okay, he's got the draw was murderous.
So he's going with Sorin here.
So the problem was that because he hasn't...
Are you holding these back as blockers?
I think that you probably have to, at least a couple of them. Yeah, so he's going to hold all of them back. That makes more sense. Without the Legion's Landing being in play, I don't see a big reason to want to attack. And the risk of getting in there for... He's got, 10 damage on board. Even if you go up to 13 here, you're in some big trouble.
I kind of think you just alpha here if you're Clayton.
You go for for Ryan and not for the Sorin?
No, I think I'd go for the Sorin, personally. I think both plays are fine, though, because I think he's going to try to block with all of them. I think he's probably going to try to double block.
I think so too. Now the question is what this facial contortion is going to pick up.
So I definitely want my thought not seer to stay alive, so he doesn't get the extra draw.
Now I wonder if I was going to say there's a possibility he'll put all of them on the thought not seer. He's trumping the one and putting 2 on the thought not seer. So a heads up play might have been putting all of them on the thought not seer. It means he would have lost all of them if it just goes to damage, but at the same time, the risk here of
Whoops.
a blowout like this.
Misclick from Clayton, revealing the Smuggler's Copter, which I doubt he would have held up anyway. But yeah, I don't really get that play from Ryan. He's gonna gain 6 life though, for what that's worth.
Well, he'll gain 4 life because he killed the one of them.
Oh yeah, 4, not 6. I don't know why I was thinking there were 3 3s.
So we don't have a way to flip the Legion's Landing. That's not great, but he does now have the black mana for this Murderous Cut is still going to be in play, so that's going to look all right.
That Sorin's still not in great shape.
Yeah,
it'll be able to live at least.
I might have liked the Murderous Cut before this play, just because he could have drawn something that he'd rather use with that white mana. If he kills the Thought Knot, which we assume he will.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's starting to delve. I also think there's merit to killing the Smuggler's Copter. That's not a play I would go for, but I think that you could if you're worried about that. Yeah, so Secure the Waste is his draw, which might be better than Legion's Landing. Probably not.
It shouldn't make a big difference because I don't think that he'll have lethal here either way, but we will see what comes off the deck for Clayton here, who is currently Hellbent.
Fatal Push. So he can kill Sorin for what that's worth.
Can he? He's only got
no, he
2
cannot.
attackers.
The way that the Copter was lined up, for some reason I was thinking it was a creature. But yeah,
I might like the Copter at Hobbyist and the... Okay, so he's going them all at Sorin.
I think that's...
So I think we're expecting another double block here. I'm not sure if that's... I don't
know what you're achieving here by single blocking.
Yeah, I don't see much either in that.
And now the Sorin's forced to plus next turn again.
Which will then have 2 creatures in play. Maybe more if he does could do a main phase, Cure the Waste, and plus.
That's fine, I guess. You're going to stop Clayton's creatures from attacking, most likely. But you're still going to die. Sorin's still going to die regardless.
I normally think that Sorin isn't great on the draw, like when you're kind of on the back foot, but it's been looking so good here.
So Ryan's probably happy to see the Smuggler's Copter, but we know he has a Fatal Push in hand. Clayton does.
Absolutely, but I think that probably the Copter and the new Legion's Landing is probably the best play here.
Tapping 4 mana?
So he's doing the Secure the Waste, okay.
I get why he's doing it. I disagree with it again.
I don't know if I disagree with it. I think the Copter would have been risky. It can only trade, and it wouldn't be a lifelinking Copter. So if he would be dead to, well, not dead, but he would be in a very bad position to something like a Fatal Push. Which it's not unreasonable to think that he has a Fatal Push after offering the Endless One for the 2 creatures.
Okay, now Ryan's attacking for 2. I think that's fine. You're not accomplishing anything by holding back 4 creatures.
Now at this point we might just see the Copter alone go.
Yeah, I think we'll see the Thought Knot Seer here. Probably take the Copter.
And then take out that Sorin finally.
Yeah. And then if you're Clayton, you're in a pretty good spot. That Adonto seems like it's going to flip soon. I think that's what Ryan was going for, at least.
Yeah, I would assume that's probably what he wants, and then he can replace it with the new Legion's Landing. And Clayton, despite having the 2 cards he wants in his hand, is happy to loot something away, which I like. For all you know, he could have seen, a Reality Smasher off the top and would rather have that.
Right.
So the Thought-Knot here, yeah, I would assume we'll take this Smuggler's Copter, but we can see if he, for some reason, would prefer to get rid of that Legion's Landing. Now, I might have liked to... Okay, I guess with no extra mana, there's no real advantage to holding back the Hangerback Walker as a blocker.
Yeah, I don't know what really punishes you there either by not holding it back as a blocker.
Oh, so Ryan brought in Sorcerer's Spyglass. That is very strange. It'll actually look okay here, being able to stop the Smuggler's Copter. Even better so, because he just got rid of his own one.
So he might have also been naming it against Field of Ruin or something like that.
That's also an option, yes.
But yeah,
so maximum punished on Clayton's side. He got rid of the Smuggler's Copter right as he draws into this Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Very true.
I don't think that Ryan wants to flip this Legion's Landing, though, with he'd be offering up 2 creatures for that, so I think that he'll just play the new one and get the extra creature on board.
That's probably the most likely thing. And then you're also putting yourself at risk to take a lot of damage next turn, or like at least lose all your creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, just playing out Legion's Landing here. Nothing you can really do from this position.
I still don't think that Spyglass is quite worth the card in this deck, just because so many of the cards that it could name, like the Copter and the Hangerback Walker, are also on the side of Ryan.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird play.
I mean, yeah, we've got to assume it's for that the Field of Ruin play.
It's kind of coming in handy, though, drawing another Copter. So I think Clayton can just alpha here, or at least with his 2 4/4s at the very least.
Ooh, so he's only swinging with the 1. I wonder if he's worried about... It'd have to be Sorin off the top because it can't even be Gideon at this point.
Well, I was gonna say maybe he was worried about the all 5 blocking Reality Smasher, not Reality Smasher, Thought-Knot Seer, and it still dies even with the Fatal Push.
Although I don't think that's the worst position in the world to be in. I mean, taking care of his whole board there.
Yeah.
But, Ryan is just a master of keeping his life total high with all these little tokens.
So it looks like Ryan is going to try to flip the Legion's Landing into a Adonto.
Okay, so that's still offering up quite a bit of value for that flip.
Yeah, and I think this is an easy block here for Clayton. Takes 1.
And pumps at the end of turn here. Okay. Starting to get scary on this side, although it's still not Ooh, so I think we're going to see the Field of Ruin on that Adonto right now.
No, that's a fine play in my opinion. It's going to save so much blocking and stuff from Clayton's side. It's going to be able to get in for extra damage. Of course, I think you have to get a Plains here, so for your Gideons and whatnot, and all your whites. I don't think he has any blacks.
Yeah, Plains makes the most sense. That gives him some live draws he didn't have before in the Gideons. We do now, if we see another land on Clayton's side, he'll have this, if near dead land is his only other utility land he's got still sitting around, which could take care of a lifelinking vampire, and that's about it.
So he's a Ruins of Oran Reef, not the worst thing.
Did he just,
I guess he doesn't want that Ruins of Oran Reef. That's an illegal play, but...
So that'll be okay later on, I assume. But we're just going to see a nice swing here for the 2 4/4s.
Why don't you attack with a Hangerback Walker here? Do you still just try to grow it? and then maybe Fatal Push
Yeah.
it.
I guess that's an option. I think he's just trying to grow it, and I don't think it helps his clock to grow it at this point, so it's a little bit strange, but it also stops his opponent from attacking in with anything like a lifelinker.
Kolaghan's command here, it's going to be pretty anemic, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he could take care of the copter in play and the copter in hand, but I don't think that's a play he wants to see.
He could
breaking the Hangerback Walker doesn't do very much for him.
Does he have anything in his graveyard to return?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Nope.
No
nothing. Creatures.
He doesn't actually run very many actual creatures.
Okay, he didn't deploy that on the Hangerback Walker, so...
Yeah, I might have liked that in response to the Hangerback Walker growing, and now I think it's just going to get... He's just going to run out this 5/5 Thought-Knot Seer in a moment here.
He can even hold up the Fatal Push if he wants.
He could now double block and damage as well as killing the Hangerback. But yeah, the Fatal Push is going to make the... Well, what is he doing here?
Yeah, it's a good play from Clayton, playing around everything.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessary, considering those were just 1/1s at this point, but...
Well, if he takes the 2 damage from the 1/1s, and then the Kolaghan's command does 2 to Thought-Knot Seer and shatters the Hangerback Walker...
Sure, yeah, I guess he could have waited until after. That makes sense.
I guess you're like...
What's actually bad here is now he's going to get that Thought-Knot. Oh, no, he was able to discard the Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah. And we're going to see 4 Thopters here.
Which is huge. And I assume we just want to run out this other 4/4 Thought-Knots here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of downside to it. I mean, you see his hand, you see he has a mountain. He can draw a removal spell, and then maybe draw another, like a Declaration in Stone. I guess if he draws Declaration in Stone, that's pretty bad. He can take care of both Thought-Knot Seers or all the Thopters, but
that's still
it's
lethal
still
on the way back. Yeah. I'm not sure I know an out here. So I guess that if he can draw Secure the Waste, it'll buy him time. It would let him block the Thought-Knot Seer, and well, I guess he'd have to end up chumping all 3 of the guys.
So I think we're just going to see a win for Clayton here.
Yep, he's got 1 draw step, and then I'm definitely going to jump out of here right away. Yep, so nothing off the top.
All right, and so Clayton's going to win this game, or this match rather, 3-2, moving on to the finals with his mono Black Eldrazi deck that he's been playing for about a year and a half, ever since the format was created. Thanks for joining me in the booth, Kevin. I look forward to playing you in our semifinals match, and the winner of us will get to play Clayton.
So,
yeah. Thanks for joining us here at the Untap Open League. Remember, you can follow us on all of our social media. You can follow us here on Twitch. Don't forget that. We have a YouTube channel, MTG_Final_Frontier. Ooh, that might be the Twitch one. Twitter at MTG Frontier, all one word. YouTube, Magic the Final Frontier. And yeah, Twitch, MTG_Final Frontier. I'm Taylor, and this was Kevin. Thanks for joining us here, and have a good night.